Andre, how you doing? Jason Dumas, Crown Force Sports. Can you just walk us through what led you back here to Golden State? How did those conversations take place, and how excited were you about it, and just how did we get to this point?
Yeah, it was just a constant conversation I was having with different folks, and we built something special here. So I got a lot of great relationships. So I've always been in touch with the guys, but Jacob Rubin is someone I play golf a lot with, and one of the started off as an intern, one of the hardworking guys, and just kind of building himself up, building his way up, and we just built a really good connection, as well as some other folks. But he was the main one. We would throw crazy scenarios out there, just shooting the crap, and it just came about. And then free agency comes, and I was expecting to go a different type of path of life or whatever, and finished the season off last year better than I thought I would. So called some folks I know and told them let's do it.
So there was a point last year, you're saying, where you weren't even sure if you were going to be playing basketball this year?
Well, not necessarily. I still had Miami had a deadline to pick up my option, so was kind of weighing that option and seeing where that may go, and they declined it. So other options opened up, and you never close the door. So the door is always there. You decide which one you want to go down.
You've been around a few weeks now. What have you thought of some of the young guys you're coming and meeting, and Kuminga, Wiseman, some of those guys?
Yeah, it's a good question. I haven't even really seen James on the floor much, just the time slots when he's on the court and when I've been on the court. But I've seen him doing some just simple things, and maybe just simple footwork or simple hook shot, and really excited to see him back on the floor. He's asking me the right questions, which tells me a lot about who he is. And that's probably the player I'm most excited to, there's a lot that goes into being, whatever they call it now, superstar player or living up to the hype of being the number one pick. And he's asking the right questions to want to be that great. And but there's a lot that comes with it, and being that young, you really don't know. But I'm really excited to be along that, whatever my short period of time with him is, to help him get there, and I think he will get there, and understanding how important patience is, and just taking it one step at a time, and I think most importantly, just making sure that he enjoys playing in the NBA. If anybody watches Ted Lasso, the former player, he was saying, you don't know shit sitting on this side of the table watching and saying what your expectations of someone else is, and you've never done what they've done. You don't know what it takes, and there's a lot of expectations in how a player should act and how many points you should score, or how many times you touch the ball. All those things are, just can be heavy bearing on a guy trying to please everyone, and before long, you'll realize your career is over, and you spent your whole time trying to prove people wrong instead of just enjoying the journey. So making sure he has fun playing basketball is what I'm getting to.
Hi, Andre. Janie McCauley from AP. Good to see you. Clay was just in here, and you were there the last time he played a game. Mm-hmm. And he was reflecting on how well he was shooting in those finals and defending as well. Mm-hmm. And just, I know what you just said about not knowing what somebody's gone through, but here's a guy who has rehab for 2 years, and he just said he's going to play till he's 40 and be a great shooter again. Can you admire what this guy's rehab has been like for 2 years, and to get back to being the Clay we know?
Yeah, well, that's a funny statement. He'll play till he's 40. I got him into an investment that he doesn't have to play till he's 40. But the way he is, he's one of those guys where there's very few players who it doesn't matter if you pay them $200 million or $2,000. They're going to prepare the same way. They're going to love the game. They're going to play just as hard, and he's one of those guys. So the money isn't the reason why he plays, and I think that's why you see his commitment. That's why you see him not falter, not waver throughout this period. I mean, obviously you have good days and bad days, but you have guys who have one of those injuries and never come back, and they just kind of like, they slowly but surely try to get back, and they're not quite the same, and they just take the check, and that's it, which is understandable with how devastating the injury is. But for a guy to have two, and then for him to get back to what I've seen, is just a testament to who he is and what he stands for, and I'm really looking forward to finding him in the area he likes to be found, and watching him shoot the ball. And I have this thing where I just really enjoy feeding him and like making sure he catches it a certain type of way. And I'm sure we have plenty of those moments this upcoming season.
Andre, quick follow-up. Andrew Wiggins insists he will. Oh yeah, thanks. And Andrew Wiggins insists he will stick to his beliefs, which right now don't include a vaccination. And what are your thoughts on a guy standing his ground? And certainly it could affect all of you being around him, but he's pretty adamant right now.
Well, I think we all have to do our homework a little bit better, and that's for all of us. And I've been upset reading about Andrew Wiggins because it's painting the wrong picture. And we're in a day and age now where perception can become reality, and the perception that's going on about him is is hurting his value, and ultimately can affect his the wealth that he accumulates, which is totally unfair. And when you do your homework the way it should be done, you understand, there's people who, they have an excuse, and then there's people who have actual values. And he's a guy that has values, and he's the type of guy I'll stand by, and he's the type of guy I'll risk being around this situation. Now, I'm vaccinated, and, I have an understanding about this, and he has a different understanding, but his understanding is something that I truly respect, and I have a value for how he sees life. And he's the type of guy that I support the whole way, and hopefully we can find a solution, and I think we will.
Andre, a couple quick follow-ups on stuff you mentioned already. While we're on the topic of vaccination status, you've been in the conversations with the Players Association for a while now. Do you think there is any point at this year, knowing what's going on in San Francisco and New York especially, where there would be any chance where the Players Union would come in and say, everybody's got to be vaxxed up?
Well, I mean, I don't think you can force it upon guys. I just think you can give people options, and I think that's what we try to do at the union, and it's our duty to try to protect our players physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. So, you just give guys options and say, I think we have guys who, the majority of our players, I shouldn't say the majority, but all our players have a love for the game. And sometimes we have to relay the message that it's, it's a business side. And, for better or worse, the business side outweighs the love of the game. And we're in a situation where, the business comes first, which is why we're playing in the pandemic. And we have to understand how CBA works, how BRI works, and how all this is affected by, this pandemic. So you just give the guys a choice, and you make your choice, and then you just live with the consequences. So I think you take that. That's the proper way to take it.
Specific to your own career, you mentioned the door is always open, at least now. Are you walking into this season thinking, this is my last year, or are you holding that door open to see how this year plays out and making a decision after that?
I haven't even really thought about it, to be honest. I've had times where I thought about retiring after year 10. You know what I mean? Like year 7. You go through different times of your life, and it's just like, what's next? So it'll always be open. Of course, it's going to end. Father Time is undefeated. But I think this year, more than anything, is each day is going to be full of joy. I'm really looking forward to ending the chapter whenever it may end. here, underpaid, but we're gonna have some fun.
Andre, Chris Alvarez, ABC7 back here. We all know what Steph can do on the floor. You've seen him evolve as a player, but how proud are you of him as a man and what he does in the community? I know you were at the Eat, Learn, Play golf event and just all the things he does, and I don't know how he finds the time to use his platform for the good he does.
Yeah, it's all those things you just said, kind of encapsulates who he is as a person, and the father, the basketball player, the husband. I just did this cool couples thing with him that was like really cool and different. That it brought like a lot of fun to me and my wife. So I've said it many times before. What he stands for. A generational, impactful guy that you don't see often. It's only like one of those guys every generation, and just kind of how he changed the game. Talking to Steve, and Steve was like, Steph Curry was the reason why you're allowed to have fun and laugh on a basketball court, where as opposed to before it was all macho and who's the toughest and who's the meanest and the baddest, and he made it cool to go out there and have fun, and he made it cool to be a husband who's there with his kids and the whole family first type of person. You never saw that quite or embraced as much from an athlete before.
Dre, how different is Clay now than when you left here? He seemed very introspective and also pretty woke suddenly.
Yeah,
And maybe not suddenly, but because you know
no,
better.
yeah. I wouldn't say suddenly. I think he's just maturity, and that's just going to happen naturally. But in his situation, he has a little bit more time to reflect. I try to reach out to him as much as possible over the last 2 years, and most of the time people are asking how he's doing because they want him back on the court, or how's the rehab, how far away do you feel, like it's all about their game. But I'll try to reach out as much as possible in terms of I'm reaching out because I want you to just know I'm there as a person, like just smile and enjoy it all. We know you're gonna be back. Take your time, but also just enjoy the process of trying to get back. Like there's a maturity in going through what he went through, and you get a chance to reflect. You get a chance to think about some other types of things in life, and you get to see the bigger picture sometimes. And you see how you realize the things that you love. That tells you whether you love the game or not, and the work he's put in shows that he loves the game. But at the same time, he's seen a lot of different things that have gone on, too. You can't forget that. We're going through the pandemic right now. We saw the George Floyd happen and all those things, and then now you're seeing the effects of what happened to George Floyd across society, different companies, and, diversity and inclusion. All those things are happening, and, the basketball can be a distraction, a lot of those things. Well, now he has time to give that some time and give that some thought and give that some action, too.
He was also introspective about having grown up, although being black, his dad had a lot of money, and perhaps he didn't see a lot until he got older, but realizes that now. Have you had conversations with him about that and George Floyd and stuff like that?
We haven't had that many conversations on that, but we will. I'm pretty sure that we will. I just spoke about it early, like looking forward to the plane rides, looking forward to the bus rides, the locker room chats, so like all those things. And I've been doing a lot of things, and it's for player empowerment. It's not for me. It's for player empowerment. So, guys like Clay, guys like Draymond, like I need those guys in order to have success with the things that I'm trying to do off the court. So we're going to have plenty of time to dissect and break those things down.